Right then, let's do my final League One table predictions. Hello guys, and welcome back to yet another video. During this international break, the final one of the season, I have been doing my final Premier League and Championship table predictions, and today I've got my final League One table predictions, and this will be difficult. Guys, before we get into this video, please be sure not to get too upset in the comments. It's just a prediction. If you disagree, that's fair enough. Let me know your predictions down there. While we're talking about support, let's go for some support. 1,500 likes on this video would be amazing. It takes 2 seconds to hit the thumbs up button, and it takes 2 seconds to subscribe, so be sure to hit the subscribe button. And while we're talking about League One, can I just take this opportunity to say a massive thank you for your support on the weekly League One predictions this season. Myself and Benjamin Bloom, who is my partner in crime, are incredibly grateful for your support, so keep it coming guys. We've still got some more League One weekly predictions to go, but today I'm doing my final table prediction, and as a bit of a bonus I will be including how many points these teams will get. Let's get into it then guys, and like I say, I'm going to factor in form and remaining fixtures, and let's start in the middle. Let's build the suspense for the promotion and relegation. Let's start with these teams. So it actually can be more difficult predicting the teams that are in the middle of the table, because you think to yourself, what have they got to play for? Well, I've got all of these teams picking up a few more points, in particular Peterborough. Let's start with Lincoln City. They are currently 12th. I've got them to finish 12th. Not the best season, it's just been the inconsistency that's killed them. We did have the Imps in the playoff picture up until about Christmas time, but they've sort of fallen away. And I think they'll be kind of spotty between now and the end of the season. A few more points in there. Their most recent game was a 0-0 against Exeter. I think they'll finish top half, and that's not too bad. You move on to the next season where maybe Lincoln can push on. Speaking of pushing on, I've got Peterborough United to climb a few more places. Peterborough's recent form has been very good actually. They were involved in the relegation scrap a few weeks ago, but now I think they've pulled away. And if they can keep this positivity and good form going into that Wembley Cup final against Birmingham, they might stand a chance, so we will see. Stevenage, mid-table, they've been solid this year. It's also been the first full season under Ravel, so you give him credit for keeping them away from trouble. I would have loved to see Stevenage make the playoffs, but is that a bit ambitious? It certainly looks that way now. Rotherham, underperformance this season. I think they're going to ride out a mid-table finish here. Do they stick with Steve Evans? I'll put that to the Rotherham fans in the comments, because I would expect Rotherham to push on next year, and Steve Evans has got pressure on him to deliver now. Exeter City, they're actually on a good run at the minute, unbeaten run. I think they'll keep that going. 16th place, not a bad finish. Let me know your thoughts. So then, let's move down the table. Who is just surviving? I'm going with Wigan, Northampton, Mansfield and Bristol Rovers, which you will notice means there's not a lot of change down there. The thing is, League One's quite close at the moment. There's quite a lot to play for. We could have a grandstand finish at the top and bottom, but also sometimes it's not as dramatic as you might think it will be. There are times it's very dramatic and we could have a crazy final day, but I think these teams are all going to get over the line. And if they all get to 50 points, that's enough, and that's what I think they will do. Wigan Athletic, I've got to 54 points here. Once again, I don't think there's going to be major consistency levels, but if they could just keep picking off a couple results, they'll be fine. Northampton Town, the same. They've been on a decent run, but they did lose to Blackpool yesterday, so need to bounce back from that. They're 6 points above Burton, but they have played a game more. I've got Mansfield just slipping behind Northampton. I think Mansfield have done enough to stay away from trouble, but they do need a few more points because Burton could really apply the pressure. And I've also got Bristol Rovers getting over the line. They lost to Crawley yesterday, which has kind of dragged them back into a little bit of trouble. What I would say is all of these teams are going to be under massive pressure if Burton can go on a very good run. If Burton win their next 2 games, that will suck all of these guys in. But if Burton lose their next 2 games, these guys might be okay. It all depends on Burton, doesn't it? But I have got these guys surviving, and that's the main thing. Can they kick on next season? Maybe. Let me know your thoughts. So, who is going down? Shrewsbury, Crawley, Cambridge and Burton. Let's start with Shrewsbury. I think Shrewsbury are done right now. They'd have to be very impressive to survive, and their next game is away at Birmingham. I don't fancy them to get anything there. I did think initially when Gareth Ainsworth went in that, oh, he's a decent manager at this level, he might keep them up. It just hasn't happened, has it? They've not been very good at all, and yeah, the form is horrendous at the minute. 1 point in the last 6 games. I also think Cambridge and Crawley are going to go. I have swapped them round. I've got Cambridge to pick up a few more points actually, but probably just got too much to do to stay up now. Neil Harris has got in there. There has been somewhat of a reaction, but take yesterday's draw with Barnsley, for example. They conceded a last-minute equaliser. That has probably killed them if they weren't already dead. It's a real shame, but they've just got too much to do for me. I think they might overtake Crawley. Crawley, let's talk about them. I think they've still got a slim chance of surviving. They've just brought Scott Lindsay back. They have beaten Bristol Rovers, but I would want to see 2 wins in the next 3 games for them to have any chance of this. And they have got some difficult games coming. They've just got to go all out for wins. But I think Crawley and Cambridge go. And then the final team, Burton. Burton, for me, have the best chance of getting out of the bottom 4, mainly due to the points that they've got. They've got a few more points than the other teams down there, and the form as well. 3 wins in the last 6. They've got, what, how many games? 9 games left. If they win 4 with a couple draws, they might be okay. They could do it. It depends on what the teams above them do. I think if Burton get to 48 points, for example, that could be enough. Maybe someone just above them will underperform and they can pull them in. I've got Burton to make it close, but I just think, once again, have they got a bit too much to do? Maybe. And I'm sorry, but that is my bottom 4, which I will say, by the way, is the bottom 4 I predicted at the start of the season. I did have those 4 to go down, so not that I'm smug about these teams going down, but not a bad prediction, I will say. Let's move up the table. Let's have a look at the playoff race. I think from 11th up to 6th, there's a mass scramble for 1 playoff place. Maybe you could say Stockport need a few more points to secure their place as well, but I think Stockport will be okay. It's all about who can catch Huddersfield, and I'm going to say no one. I've just got Huddersfield to do the business, but look how close this is. Let's start with Barnsley. Barnsley are 8 points off with 8 games to go. That draw against Cambridge doesn't do a lot for them, does it? So I don't know. They'd have to be pretty flawless to make it now. And probably the same said for Blackpool, who are currently 7 points off. But I do have Blackpool to get up to 70 points, which would give them a bit of a chance. But I think it might be mid-70s to get 6th place this season. But Blackpool are a team I've really enjoyed. I will say that. I've really enjoyed them. I know they've probably drawn too many games. That's probably the problem. Don't lose many, especially at home. Leyton Orient, I don't know. I mean, if you haven't already checked out Benjamin Bloom's video from last week on League One, very good video, by the way. He spoke about the promotion race, and myself and him have said the same things about Leyton Orient. They are incredibly streaky. Now, if we get a very good streak in these final, 8 games, 9 games, they might make the playoffs. But they have to be very good. But they are capable of that. But, I don't know, that recent form, you look at the form table, they lost 5 in a row before they beat Blackpool last time. I think Orient might just miss out. And then I've got Bolton missing out. I'm not 100% sure about this. That's why I think the points will be really close. I think 6th place might go to the final day. Bolton have improved somewhat, and they have got Schumacher. They have lost their last 2 games, and also their goal difference is not that great. It's almost like a point less than everyone else. I think it'd be close, but I think Bolton could just miss out this year because I think the standard for the playoffs is quite high. And then I've got Reading, level on points with Bolton, ahead of them on goal difference, but also just falling short. Now Reading, we do need to talk about them. They've been very good, by the way, on the pitch lately, on a bit of an unbeaten run. It's, 2 wins and 3 draws in the last 5? No, it's not too bad. Maybe a few too many draws. But it's the off-the-pitch stuff that's worrying me with Reading. There is a real concern that Reading could be expelled from the Football League because of the owner, Di Young. He's got to sell up, and that's surely where Reading's focus is right now. It's horrible to say this, by the way, and my thoughts are with everyone connected at Reading, whether you're a Reading fan, whether you're someone that's a player there or works behind the scenes there. I hope they get this resolved. It would be a fairy tale if they get this resolved and then also make the playoffs and get promoted, but I just hope they get the off-the-pitch stuff sorted first, and that really does come first. Because what happens if they make the playoffs but get expelled anyway? So it doesn't bear thinking about, does it? And Reading fans, I stand with you. I think Premier League fans, especially the fans of the top 6 teams, are so out of touch with some of the clubs down here that are struggling financially. Myself, as a Coventry fan, I can relate to this sort of stuff. Absolutely horrible. I hope Reading get it sorted, because on the pitch I have actually quite enjoyed them. Let me know your thoughts. I have got Huddersfield to just about hold on to 6th place though. Difficult right now, isn't it? They'd lost 4 of their last 5 under Duff. They got rid of him and then they smashed Crawley. Was that an outlier result? I don't think so. I think Huddersfield are a lot better than Crawley. That is what the table will show us. But it's a small sample size, and what are they going to do next, by the way? What's the next step for Huddersfield? They've got to get the appointment right. I don't know. I just think the players, they've got enough good players, and they've also got a much better goal difference than everyone else here. I think they're just going to do it, but I think there's a few points that they'll drop. But if they get to 75, I think Huddersfield do it. So share your thoughts if you're a Terriers fan. You can understand why I'm a little bit conflicted on this. Not totally sure what's going to happen, but I think players-wise and the performance against Crawley, you take those things and you think, yeah, they should do it. I don't know. Should we move on to the top 5 then? I think after what we saw yesterday with Wrexham beating Stockport and Charlton losing to Peterborough, I think Charlton and Stockport might stay 4th and 5th. But who is going up with Birmingham? Here's the big reveal. 3, 2, 1. Wrexham. I've got Wrexham to do the business. Let's go through these teams one at a time. Stockport in 5th place. I feel fairly confident Stockport finish 5th now. 5th or 4th. Stockport and Charlton might actually swap around, but that's not a massive problem. I think Stockport's defeat to Wrexham has killed that top 2 hope, if there was any of that. They have been on a good run up until then, but they obviously lost that game against Wrexham yesterday. There was, of course, a red card. Hills got sent off towards the end. And I think a few Wrexham and Stockport fans had pointed this out to me, that whenever Stockport play Wrexham, back the home team, and Wrexham were the home team. I think Stockport are good enough to stay in the playoffs, though. And one thing, Benjamin Bloom, the brilliant Benjamin Bloom, who you need to check out on YouTube if you haven't already, one thing he did say in his League One video last week is look at Stockport's track record over the last couple seasons. They finish in the playoffs, they lose in the playoffs, but then they go on to get automatically promoted the following season and win the league, actually. So maybe I would have Stockport as one of my strong favourites to get top 2 next season if they lose in the playoffs this season. Charlton, I think Charlton are going to finish in the playoffs. That defeat to Peterborough kind of ends their top 2 hopes, unless we get a real wobble from Wrexham and Wycombe. And I will say that Charlton and Stockport, I think they both still have to play Wycombe, and Charlton still have to play Wrexham. So if Charlton can claw back a bit of ground, that could be interesting. But I think they finish 4th, and with Nathan Jones, they're a hot pick for the playoffs, to win the playoffs, I mean. In 3rd place, I've gone for Wycombe then. Look at this. I think this will be so close. I was going to wait until Sunday, today, to do my League One predictions, because I wanted to see what happens first between Wrexham and Stockport, and Wrexham won. And do you know what? It wasn't even a pretty game. It wasn't like I saw Wrexham play the best football I've ever seen in League One. That's not what they need to do. They just need to grind results out, and they are. In the big high-pressure games, especially at home, I trust them. And look, I think Wycombe have been great this season, but when I'm comparing the 2 of their remaining fixtures, I just fancy Wrexham's a bit more. Now, right now, Wycombe fans are well within their rights to say it's in their hands. They're 3 points behind, they have a game in hand, and they have a superior goal difference. So long as Wycombe keep bashing out wins, they will go up. But there are some games in there that I don't like. and I look at Wrexham's fixtures and there's quite a few nice ones, so I fancy them to do it. So I've got Wycombe third and Wrexham second, and what I will say is, looking at what it might take to get top two, get to 90 points. I would be surprised if both get to 90 points. I think one of them will, and the one that does will go up. Let me know your thoughts. Get to 90 points and I think you get top two. Sorry Wycombe, I haven't got an agenda against you. You will go into the playoffs as somewhat favourites, but there's some very good teams in the playoffs, I will say. And fair play to Wrexham. I know they've not done it yet, but I'm believing now. I am believing that Wrexham do it. And that would be astonishing, guys. Wrexham in the Championship. Do look out for a video tomorrow, by the way, guys, where I might talk about what to expect in the Championship next season for Wrexham and Birmingham and so on and so forth. And let's speak about Birmingham, guys. 106 points. I tried to be fair with their remaining games and say, how many of them are they actually going to lose? And I would be surprised if it's more than one, if I'm being honest. They might draw one or two, but I expect them to end the season quite well and get past 100 points and potentially break some records here. I also fancy them as the favourites to win at Wembley in the Pizza Cup trophy, and that would be quite an impressive double. And Birmingham City, I think, would be a team to be reckoned with in the Championship next season. I don't think there's any way Birmingham are going to mess this up, guys. Even if I was incredibly anti-Birmingham and I'm looking for ways in which they might slip up and mess this up, I can't see it. I can't see it, guys. So if you don't like Birmingham, I'm sorry, but they are going up. I personally don't mind Birmingham, and look, they're down the road from where I am. They did help Coventry out with the stadium. I'm looking forward to seeing them in the Championship next year, but what I will say is I'm a little bit wary of them now. I think they are a club going in the right direction. Wouldn't be surprised if we see them in the Championship playoff picture within a couple of years. Let me know your thoughts, Birmingham fans. I've got you getting to 106 points. I've got Wrexham getting to 90. And as for the playoffs, I don't know. Maybe a Charlton Wycombe playoff final, but Huddersfield are a little bit of a wild card, aren't they? Who knows? Let me know your thoughts. Give me your predictions down in the comments, guys. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button. It takes 2 seconds to like and only 2 seconds to subscribe. We're closing in on 95,000 subscribers. So get involved with both of that good stuff. And I will see you in the next video. Take care. Peace out.